Gotta start the recording. There we go. Okay. So everyone, today I'm gonna be going over classes. Has anyone used classes before?
Yeah.
Yo, great. So yeah, uh, class is a very necessary thing to understand for programming. A lot of programming languages use it. So we're gonna do an introduction, some theory, and then some implementation of them. So how to follow this lesson, right? So like I was saying before, you don't have to focus on writing the code here. Just focus on the logic of the code. I don't want you to like stress out having to make sure, oh, did I get all the symbols correct in this? Um, if you understand the logic of it, that's the most important thing. And also, once again, if you don't have a local IDE or REPL to run your code, you can always use these links. So since no one wanted to use JavaScript, I just didn't write JavaScript for this. So here's the Java one and the Python one, putting it in Funbox discussion if you need it. Cool. So first of all, water classes. So we got Garfield normal here. So you can think of classes like blueprints for creating multiple objects with similar structures. It kind of outlines how a bunch of different things should look like. So, for example, the two cats, right? Garfield and Normal. We could have we could copy code for each of them. Like we could have a Normal file and a Garfield file. We can have all this stuff. So, does anyone think of some functions that we may have for Garfield? Anyone? Just come on, come on.
Can you use a constructor? So it's kind of, yeah. Wouldn't you use like a constructor like most of the time?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, constructor's definitely one of them. I'm more looking for like what do we need a cat to do? Like what are some things cat do? Cat,
walk,
yeah, walk, like talk, eat, that kind of stuff, right?
they talk.
Yeah. So we don't want to have to like write the code for all of these, like copy and paste. So Garfield has to talk and that has to talk. So classes allow us to kind of say, okay, both Garfield and Normal both use this one set of code, and it's very useful. Um, and it allows us, so say we want to edit something, right? And if we're editing code, but if we have it in two places, you never want to have the same code in two places because if you edit one of it, it's not going to edit the other. And it's a great way to cause errors. That always messes me up when I'm programming. So uh, this is a great way to consolidate your code into one uniform. So anyone have any other examples of what classes would be like? You can just say them, unmute your microphone. Anyone?
Maybe like creating, like maybe like a certain object that you want. Like maybe it's like a shape, like with multiple shapes.
Yeah, exactly. Jacob, you have any? Uden, you have any? Abba, you have any?
I don't have a lot of experience with classes and stuff.
Oh, yep. So this is more just like things that could be classified, or not classified, but made into classes. Um, but that's fine, So another example could be like pizza, right? So a basic cheese pizza can be like a class, right? So say we want to get cheese pizza. It's a starting place for other pizzas, right? Because you can get pepperoni on it, you can get mushrooms on it. Um, and so like you can make it to use a supreme pizza, but you don't want to have to reuse. You don't have to say, oh, I have to add sauce, I have to add bread, yeast, all that to make my supreme pizza. You can just say, I want a cheese pizza plus these toppings. You see how I'm talking about that? Where we're taking something that we've created before and we're using and we're just adding on to it or modifying slightly. And this greatly reduces the amount of code you have and makes your code more uniform and easy to read.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So both Python and Java are what we call object oriented. So oriented. So they rely on objects or classes for their code. So if you use Java, right, you see this because um, that's it's in the code, right? When you open up your compiler, it's going to say uh, public class main or public class my class. So actually, let's do that now. Or nah, can I get out of this? No, I can't. um, but yeah, so you like public class my class, right? But everything has a class in Java. It's all object oriented. Python is the same way with a class keyword. Now, even though you don't have to write public class my class in Python, it's automatically done for you and inferred. And you can make your own classes with the class keyword for both languages. So here's another example, right, where you can have a class of instruments. And so a piano goes into an instrument, a guitar goes into an instrument, but you can also have a class of guitar where the acoustic guitar goes into the electric guitar, bass guitar, all of these. So you don't have to say, okay, so this is a guitar, has all this stuff. This is a guitar, has all this stuff. It's all pointing at the same thing, right? So let's try and like just get a simple implementation. So like I was saying before, for Python and Java, you want to use the formula class name. With Java, you have to wrap it with curly braces, which are the little curly braces like that used for functions, and Python uses the traditional colon, right? And no, you gotta make sure that this is outside your other classes. So this isn't in public static void main. This is outside everything. Um, so I'm actually what? Oh, it crashed on me. Great. Man, hey, you know how I love Google Slides, right? So I'm actually gonna go with you through this in here, right? So if you open up JDoodle, right, and you got this, so you can create a class by just going here and typing class and then your class name, and then bam, you have a new class. For Python, have REPL load up, just do class name, and then bam, you have a new class. It's that simple. And with that, how am I gonna? Well, I don't like the present, right? It goes into a new tab. Well, what if I little? There we go. Now I'm thinking with portals. Okay. Right. So, for example, Java, right? You can have a class dog. In Python, you can have a class dog with the colon. So if we go in and write that, it's a class dog, and then class dog, that creates a new class for us. And classes use functions inside of them. And a little terminology is if you ever heard the word methods, that is just a function that is inside a class. I don't care what you use. No one's gonna like say, "Oh, you're wrong. It's method." Um, but functions inside classes are called methods, but it's not a big deal. So you can create methods just as you would normal functions. So if we want to create one that named bark that prints out, bark bark into the console, we can just come here, right, for Java, and it has to be inside the class declaration, or for Python first, right? So we just want to say def bark, so create a new function named bark, and this self parameter right here, this is referring to the object itself. So if you think about like it pointing at self, is my webcam working?
No, it's not. It's just
Oh,
like really,
Yeah, it's not.
it's
someone
just
could have told
loading.
me.
Yeah, it's in the loading screen or something. I don't know.
All right, let me replug it
And
in.
now we
Sorry
can
about
see your
that.
screen instead of you.
Can you see me
Now
now?
it's
Yeah, it's
working.
working.
Yeah.
Ah, sorry about that. You should have told me earlier. Yeah, so when you're talking about self, you're thinking point at yourself, right? So it's referring to stuff in the object. So later on when we're going into constructors, we can actually call functions inside the class or get variables inside the class. So it has to be passed in the function, and then we just print bark bark. So if we go class, do def bark self, print bark bark, right there is a function that will print bark bark inside our class. And then with Java, just public void because we're not returning anything. Want it to be public so we can access it. Bark. And Java doesn't use self. It uses the this keyword we'll go over later, but it's automatically in the function. We don't have to specify it as a parameter. So we can just go here, do I don't want capital. Right? And right there you have a function called bark, and it'll bark for us. Here, let me do a poll. Here, I'm going to do a poll. Just do you understand this so far? If you don't, just put a thumbs down. Tell me what it is. I'll explain it some more. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. It's in the fun box discussion. Everyone can go right there real quick. I'll just wait for those to come in. All right, cool. And if you don't understand anything at any time, just, tell me. All right, so moving on right now, let's go ahead and try and run the function. So um, if we go here, I'm actually going to silence my thing so it doesn't pop up. There we go. Did I just turn it off? Or? There we go. Okay, so when we're running the function, right, we're going to have to create an instance of the class. So think of an instance just like making a pizza. When the pizza maker goes in and he makes a new pizza, he's not making the pizza. He's creating just an instance of the pizza. So he can make 50 instances of pizza that people eat. But there's only one pizza class, or like one ingredient, or not ingredient, but one like cookbook for making the pizza. Um, and with Java, you are going to have to use the new keyword. And you can just think of it like, hey, I'm making a new pizza, so I have to use the new keyword when you're invoking it. And for Java, we're going to be putting it inside our public static void main for our main class, just so it's run for us. In Python, we're just going to do in the global scope. Cool. So for Python, right, we just do my dog, and you can just call the dog thing like you would do a function, and then we can call the functions off of it. So if we go here, actually, I call this dog, right? Yeah. So my dog equals dog, call it. So now create a new instance of dog. Can you see that good? There we go. And then we can just call my dog, and we want to bark. So if we go ahead and run this code, right, you'll see bark bark was printed in the console. Does everyone see how that function was run?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And you can do this for all. So if you want a great way to just organize your code, here you go. But it gets even better. And with Java, now Java, if you're new to types or stuff, you're going to have to use the class as the type. So normally, right, say you want an integer, you'd have to do int x equals 11, right? But we're using the dog type, so we have to use the class name as the type. Just call it my dog and use new keyword dog. And then we can do my dog dot bark, execute that, and we see bark bark was printed in the console. Cool. So I think David mentioned this earlier. Now we got constructors, right? So constructors are run um, are invoked really when you create a new instance of the class, and they allow you to set information inside of the class. So if so Python uses the underscore underscore init underscore underscore function. So that'll be run, and Java uses the just public and then the class name as a function inside the class. So that's a bit confusing, right? But if we go ahead and create it, um, we can see what it's doing. And we're also going to be setting a variable inside of it. So we're going to be allow our constructor to take in a name and then set the class name equal to the name we pass in. Right? So Python, we just come over here, and it's traditional to put it at the top of your class. You can put it wherever. I just like putting it at the top. So call a new function underscore underscore init underscore underscore self, because we need self always. And then we need to we can put whatever we want to be passed in whenever someone makes our class. So we just want to pass in a name. So self and name. All right. Now the self, this self thing keeps with the class always. So what we can do is we can assign something on the self to equal it. So if we do self.name right here, we can make that equal to the name that was passed in. And that means that, say we're in Bark, we can take self.name right here and it'll know what the name is. Now, Java is a bit more complicated, so we're actually going to make a variable at the top here. So public string, public string name. So when you're making a Java class, you want to do these outside any function. And then the constructor for Java is public, and then the class name. So this is dog. And we want to have one parameter of type string and make that name. And then we can just do this. So this is Java's version of self. Same deal right there. And just we can say this.name, that's referring to this declaration, is equal to the name that was passed in. And yeah, so that's how you can do that. And let's go ahead and try to print that name out, right? So we can make a quick talk function or talk method where we call talk, we pass in a string of words, and then it says the name says the words that we passed in, right? So does anyone want to give it a shot of how that would be accomplished?
Would you just make a function in the class and then like make it print something, or like make it do something else in order to talk?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for I think it's Python first, or yeah, name says words. So Python first, right? Can just create a new method here, name it talk, and we always need self for the first parameter. Next, we can just have words as the next. Then we want to print out a string. So how would we get the name of the dog right here?
You would use self.name.
Yeah, exactly. So self.name gets the name that we defined here. We can add, say, says, and then words right there. Bam. And then let's do it for Java. So Java is a lot the same, just with typed. So public void talk, and we want to pass in words or string words. Got a new mention. CS announcements. Okay. Oh no. I'm getting like bombed with emails from people joining the REPL in the normal class. I'm going 6 emails, 7, 8. Oh, I'll silence my phone there. And then we can system.print out a new line. So how would we get the name for Java? Jacob, Adve, any of you want to go at it?
I'm not using Java right now.
Okay. Is anyone using Java?
No, but not for me. But I think I know. I think I know how you would do it.
Okay.
This name. With this name.
Yeah, yeah. And Jacob, were you gonna say something? Okay. Yeah. So it'll be this.name, what we defined up here, and then we can just say this.name plus, so just append to a string, says, and then just add the words. Cool. So now that we got the function right, our current code right here, right, it's not going to work. If we call this, because, well, I can just show you, it's going to give us an error and say, hey, you have a constructor here, but you never pass in the string of name. So what do you want me to do? So what you can do, right, let's go over here, is we're going to be, yeah, removing this code right here. So I'm just going to comment it out, and let's make a new dog. So anyone have a name for a dog? Jacob, you want to name our dog?
Um, sure.
Oh, what you want the name to be?
I have no clue.
Oh, anything, anything.
How we'll name him. I have no clue. I don't know.
Okay, anyone else?
Fido or
Fido. So we got Fido. Again, I don't know. I have no idea how that's spelled. I'm just gonna do Fido. Is equal to a new dog, and you can see here that REPL is telling us we have to pass in the name. So we just say Fido or Fido. Um, and let's go and check, make sure we haven't broken anything by calling the bark function. See, still barks. And then let's try having him talk. So what do we want Fido to say? Anyone? Just give me some words.
just make him ask for stuff like feed me or something.
All right, feed me. So if we do that, we can see Fido says feed me. So you can see we defined the name with our initiation function, and then we took the name again, put it in a string of functions, and printed out the name again. This is a great way, right, to store your state of the name or store state of any variable. It gets it really concise, puts it in a box, and make sure that you're not have a bunch variables all over the place. It really makes your code precise and calculated. So I'm doing the Java part of it now. So I'm going to comment this out. Here, Utan, do you want to name our dog for this?
Sorry, what?
Do you want to name the dog?
Jeff?
Sure, let's go. So it's your new dog. Let's call it Jeff. It's equal to new dog. And then we just pass in the string, so Jeff. And then we can have Jeff bark. And then let's make Jeff talk. And what is Jeff going to say?
What's up?
There you go, what's up? Execute this. You can see bark, bark, and then Jeff says, what's up? So right here, we're taking in what we defined in the initiation function, or the constructor, and we're printing it out back here. Cool! So I'll do another poll, make sure everyone's good with that. Just give it a good thumbs up if you are.
So would there be a way would there be a way for you to take user input to name the dog?
Yeah, you can. So usually if you want to take user input, you would want to do it here. So we can do Python real quick, right? If we want to take user input, we could do something like, just comment this out. Dog name is equal to input. What do you want your dog to be called?
I have a question. How did you comment out those those 3 lines at like a single time?
Oh, so you can use shift and then the arrow keys to highlight multiple lines, and then if you do control and then the slash, it will comment and uncomment.
Control and slash.
Yeah, control slash will comment and uncomment the line you're currently on, and if you select multiple lines, it'll do all those lines.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. So if we take in the dog name as an input right here, we can say, I don't know, dog is equal to new or dog, and then just pass in the dog name. And let's just say Bob Clark, I love cats. So if we run this, it would ask us for name. So if we say Rex, it'll make a new function with Rex says I love cats. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great, yeah. And you can do everything with this, right? Fun box discussion. Yeah, as Ave says, if there's a way, there's a way. um, yeah. So that's like the code for that part. I'm gonna be posting the links to just that so you can mess around with it. Can I? Oh no. Uh, I gotta type this out. Oh no. Because what I want you to do is I want you to like mess around with it, right? So, um, what you should do now is try and think of things that you want to implement and try and do them right now. So, if you want, you can copy the code I sent as just like some boilerplate to get started, and just try and make some things, right? So, you can try right now if you want. One thing is make a pizza class, and you can have. Does anyone want to do that one? All right. Yeah. So, um, for the next like 10, 20 minutes, what we're going to be doing is just use the code that you have, or just start writing some code right now and try and make a class. And then once you make a class you like, you can just post the code in phone box discussion, and we can all see it and be like, yay! I'm also going to be typing some example classes on the screen if you just want to watch those. So go at it. And I'm here if you need help or if you have any questions. Bar. Yeah, I see that's the Python one. Very nice. So yeah, so ideas, you got pizza, you can have like donuts, uh, cats. Here, I'll make one in Python for y'all while you do it. And just if you got questions, hit me up. I wanted to give you all some coding time with this, so it wasn't just me talking. So you can unmute your microphones and talk if you want. All right. So uh, if you're just watching the stream and you're not making your own class, I'm just making a pizza class here. So just class of pizza. I'm gonna take in some toppings. Define the toppings here. So self.toppings is equal to just toppings. And we're gonna say where toppings is an array, right? So it's just an array of strings. And then say we want to export our stuff. So just create a new function called export, have self, and then you print out this is these are my toppings, right? And then um, for I n, right? Or what was it for I don't do Python much for I, v, and toppings, or we just want v. We can just print out v, and we have to do self.toppings because we're referring to this. If we say come down here, say our toppings are equal to what do we want? Pepperoni, cheese. Anyone have some other topping? Alright, I'll just assume you're doing your own code, and you can like have mushrooms, and then say we want to say my pizza is equal to new pizza, pass in the toppings, and then my pizza.export. If we run this, did REPL crash? There we go. So we can see these are my toppings, and it prints out all the toppings that we have. So here's an example that you can have in Phonebox discussion. Does anyone need help with creating their class? I'm here for you. All right. So I'm going to give it to around 1:15 where you can keep on making your classes that you want. Um, just if you got something, put in phone box discussion. If you need help, just hit me up. Guess I can create another Java function while we're waiting. So this one will just be a teacher. Say hello.
What was the code for the user input to name the dog?
Oh yeah, let me get that. I'll post in phone box discussion. You just use the input keyword we talked about, or input function we talked about earlier. Just ask what you want. You
Okay.
can get the name and just pass it in. Great. Do you have any other questions?
How do you get like a slanted text in the Python? In like the place that you sent?
Italics?
Yeah.
Printed to console?
Okay.
No, do you want that italics like in the console?
No, I want it in the text. Or in the code.
Why do you want italics?
Just make it look fancy.
Hey, that's always a good thing to have. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it supports this for this one. I don't think it has custom fonts for REPL.
Alright.
Yeah, sorry. If you want to be a gamer, do you have Firefox or Chrome?
I'm on Brave.
Brave, okay. Not sure about Brave what the inspect is. For Firefox, you can
Okay,
go.
I'm in inspect.
Yeah, you can go to a style editor, or just add the CSS and change it to an italic font.
Okay.
My IDE just crashed.
Your REPL?
Huh?
Oh, is your code okay? Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Did you get your code back?
Oh, my microphone is muted.
Oh. Yeah, did you get your code?
But for some, no, but because when I try to reopen the IEE, it just for some reason doesn't work. So the only solution is for me to reboot the computer. But I think the reason why this is happening is because the computer I'm using is really slow,
Hmm.
like old.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you can reboot and join back. We're just going to be moving on in 4 minutes. If you want,
But
you can use the
my
online.
huh?
You can use the online thing if you want.
The what?
The online links I sent earlier for the editor.
Oh, okay. But if I reboot it, it takes like 10 minutes.
Ooh.
So silly.
Well, if if you know what it is, you don't have to put one in if you don't want to. But if you want to put it later on today, that would be perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So for Java, this teacher class, just gonna have a name position. We create the constructor for it, and we can just say, hey, we're gonna print out who am I, and then we can just say their name, have like a little comma and space, and then their position. So if we go up here, oh, it does not scroll for me. Say teacher. What's one of your teachers' names?
Jack.
Oh, me. Yeah, so teacher Jack equals new teacher. And just pass in Jack and position instructor. If I can spell. Hopefully I can spell. Call Jack. Who am I? It will print out Jack instructor because it gets this dot name and this dot position and prints it out.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't noise suppression supposed to work?
For Discord?
Yes.
Maybe.
Alright. It says, you can clap your hands, but no one will be able to hear it. I do it, but you guys can hear the clap.
Wait, try clapping? I can barely hear it, so it's doing something. I don't know. Like stuff like that, you never really know if it's working well or not.
Yeah.
Cool. So, now Ave's posted another thing. Jacob Uden, do you have any code you want to share? Cool. If you do, you can always paste it in there. We'd love to see it.
Yes, I do have code. It's not finished.
Oh, okay. No.
It's just kind of the start of an idea that I was gonna do.
Hey, that's cool.
Here, I'll copy and paste. Do I just put it in the fun box discussion?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you got using the class for like a game and simulator. Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, if you make something cool, right, I would love to see it, so you can always post it in the discussion.
Okay.
All right.
So is this our last class?
Yeah, for this summer, this is gonna be the last class. We were supposed to start up in school, but COVID kind of ruined those odds. So, the leaders of Teach2Learn are going to be making a plan, and they'll notify you through this Discord. Um, and they'll also probably email your parents about it.
Okay.
Hey, yo, Avid got one class. Got the age reading. Right, exactly. Hey, you even got a doc string in there. Very nice. That's more than I do.
Thank you.
All right, well, you know, those are some great applications. Before we go, I'm just going to show off one small thing, and then I'll just let you off. So, another concept that's nice to know is called overloading and overloading constructors. So, I'm going to be commenting, I'm just going to be deleting this code. I'm going to get the dog back. I'll get Jeff. So uncomment this. Right, so we got Jeff here, and if we run this, we got bark bark, and Jeff says, "What's up?" Right, but say it's something where we may not need the name, right? Well, if it's just like a random dog we find, like laying on the street, right, and we take it in, nurture it, but we don't know its name. So with Java, you can actually create multiple functions of the same names with different parameters, and it'll still work. So we can make a new constructor right here, say public dog, with no name passed in, and we can just set a default value. So let's say this.name is equal to unknown, right? So if we run it again, it's still going to be calling this function because we're passing in a name of type string. But say if we make a new dog, call it unknown, is equal to new dog, and we say, hey unknown, we want to talk and say, I love pizza. If we call this right, it's going to say unknown says I love pizza, even if we didn't pass in the name. Does everyone see how we did that? Here, I'll do a poll.
I just finished manually typing what I had before in the things
Hey, good
that
job.
you said. But it probably has some errors since like the IDE that I can like do has like some feature. Never mind.
Yeah, I know
I'll,
what
I'll
I
just
know what
I'll
you
just put
mean.
it in.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and take your time. We're gonna have some time at end of class, and you can always just paste it in later.
Why does that not work?
Oh no, you're not powerful enough.
Oh, I think I know why.
Yeah.
Eh, eh, eh.
All right.
What? No.
So I think everyone's good with the overload. No one's done that thing. So you can also do this with
So,
unloading.
is there a way to do something similar to that with Python?
Yeah. I'm going to get to Python real quick. This is just for Java, and then I'm gonna switch to Python. So, just before we move on Python, we can also do this in Java with other stuff. Oh, we got David. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna try and show in Python. Good job on that. So yeah, you can do that.
For some reason, it doesn't show the underscores for me at least.
Oh, if you wrap it in these, so 3 above and 3 below, it will let you paste it in like a code block. Like if you look up and see Adve had like a block of code.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, and that won't like because it's reading it as a underscore for Discord. So that's how it marks up text.
Wait, so how do I make it with the block with the code thing?
So you do you can copy paste this. It's next to your 1 key on the keyboard to the left. You just want to have 3 ticks. You can enter
Oh,
code and 3 ticks to end.
okay, I typed that. The how do I try to put it in? Because when I enter, it just creates a new line.
Put 3 ticks again to close it out.
Oh,
There you go. Hey, nice. So you got the add. Fair. Hey, you even overriding default. That's good. That's advanced. Got all. Yeah, that's a really good implementation with the inputs and the init. If they're none. So good on that. Real quick back to Java. So if we have, say, I don't know, a string or a boolean uh, is cool, say system print line barks and uh, we're gonna have just like if is cool, we can print barks coolly, whatever that means. If not, we can just print the dog is not cool, sad face.
What?
Who
That
knows?
makes no sense.
Hey, I didn't know. I didn't say I made sense. um, so the default bark right here,
Uh,
you can see it says "What's up?" So that's just, or it just says bark bark, which is the normal one. But if we pass in a boolean, so if we say true, lowercase, it'll say barks coolly because it calls this function.
and why did it say the dog is not cool after that?
I don't know. It's is cool. I didn't know what to make it. I'm not the best at
Okay.
variable names, if you couldn't tell. Uh, yeah. So that's method overloading for Java. Python doesn't really have that to the same extent. Here, I'm gonna get rid of the pizza. We'll just go back to Fido. All right. So if we have a dog, um, what David did, which is the right thing to do, is we can have an equal sign for parameter and set it to a default value. So if we say name is equal to Jeff, so if we call Fido, it's going to say Fido says bark me, but if we don't pass in a variable, and we say talk, or Fido would say Jeff, say Jeff.talk, ruff ruff, and see it just automatically goes to Jeff because it has equals. And this is for all Python functions. So if you want a default value, you can always have it equal to something like this. Um, this includes stuff like none, if you just want to say, oh, it doesn't exist. Cool. Um, do my Python people understand that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Message me, Addy. Oh, gotta get him later. All right, cool. So yeah, that was just the last thing I want to go over. For Java, it's a lot more important, but for Python, it's just a nice thing to know how to do. So this was our last lesson, sadly, so I'm gonna be having to leave you. But you're always welcome to message me on Discord, type in the phone box discussion, I'll get back to you. Um, if you have any questions, hit me up. And if you have some cool code you want to share, feel free to paste it in to phone box discussion. See what you're doing. Does anyone have any final questions? Great. Well, I had a good time with all of you, and hope to see you around soon. If and if you need any help, again, just feel free to hit me up. All right. All right. Cool. So all you are free to go. Hope you have a good evening and stay safe.
You too.